Think of your favorite baseball team, the one you love to watch, the one you still think back on and smile. Not a franchise, but an individual team, one roster and one season. What do you love about that team? Is it their sluggers, their base-stealing speedsters, their lockdown bullpen, their wisecracking manager? For me, it's the rotation every time. It's the starters, the freight trains, the horses, guys who carry the weight through the grind of 162 games, saving their bullpen and shaking off their manager whenever he has the guts to try and take them out. The age of the classic starting pitcher is fading, so while we still have the chance, I'm going to count down what I believe to be the best 9 starting rotations of the 2010s. There may or may not even be a Rockies rotation lurking in the honorable mentions, so don't click away. I'm basing this list mainly on wins above average, along with values like WHIP, fielding independent pitching, expected stats, park factor, and my catch-all favorite ERA+. But I'll also reference old school counting stats to keep things grounded. Keep in mind I'm considering any pitcher who pitched at least 81 innings for the team as a valid member of the rotation, even if he didn't complete a full season. There will be some bias toward teams who kept a consistent 5-man rotation throughout the season, but we'll find that bias to be largely justified by the advanced stats anyway. Number 9. 2018 Astros. The Astros dynasty under Jim Crane will always be defined by their 2017 sign-stealing scandal, which shocked baseball and alienated many of their fans. You can shred these Astros teams all you want for their talent to the trash can lid, but you can't blame any of that noise on their pitching staff. Justin Verlander, having arrived the year prior via a midseason trade with Detroit, anchored a superb staff that featured a former Cy Young winner in Dallas Keuchel and a future recipient in Garrett Cole. Supported by curveball wizard Charlie Morton and talented 24-year-old Lance McCullers, the quintet started all but 10 of the Astros games in 2018, and posted a superb 1.32 ERA+ to lead the major leagues. The staff also topped baseball in strikeouts per 9, fielding independent pitching, strikeout-to-walk ratio, and virtually every expected stat. All that muscle wouldn't be enough to stop the eventual world champion Red Sox in the 2018 ALCS, as the Boston Bats pummeled Houston pitching in a 5-game series. Number 8. 2016 Cubs. You saw this one coming, but finding the curse breakers this early on the list might be surprising. This is because while by counting stats, this rotation was easily the best in the majors in 2016, their advanced numbers are hampered by the unexpected fact that Wrigley Field, known for being a bandbox, actually graded out as a pitcher's park this year, while in general, the baseball balance was tilted in favor of pitching throughout the season. Nonetheless, the Fantastic Five of Addison Street put this team on its back, while the offense ran into periodic slumps throughout the year. John Lester, the solitary lefty in the rotation, seized the role of ace in his second turn of Chicago, finishing second in Cy Young voting on the strength of a 2.44 ERA, a 1.02 WHIP, and a 1.71 ERA+ over 202 1/3 innings. On the heels of his legendary 2015 Cy Young summer, Jake Arrieta worked to a solid 1.35 ERA+ over 31 starts, dominating with his vicious sinker-slider combo and leading the National League in fewest hits per 9 innings allowed. Kyle Hendricks, who was really only expected to be a steady number 3 in the rotation, wound up easily topping the major leagues with a 2.13 ERA, soft-tossing his way to a third-place finish in Cy Young voting and a Game 7 start in the World Series. Veteran righties John Lackey and Jason Hamill rounded out the staff with rock-solid efforts, with Lackey in particular carrying his weight by averaging nearly 7 innings per start. Number 7. 2017 Diamondbacks. One of my personal favorites, the 2017 D-backs are a great where are they now exercise for 2010s pitchers. Robbie Ray, who broke out with an NL best 12.1 strikeouts per 9 innings to go with a stellar 1.63 ERA+, would go on to win a Cy Young in 2021 before languishing in mediocrity with the Mariners and Giants. Bleacher Boys legend Zach Greinke anchored the staff with Verlander-like consistency, winning 17 games with 3.2 ERA and grunting his way to a 5.7 wins above replacement, although the Greinke has now resigned himself to retirement after a magnificent career. Zach Godley racked up a remarkable 4.2 WAR over just 25 starts, several years before he would become the worst pitcher to ever don a Red Sox uniform in 2020. Current Phillies batting practice pitcher Taijuan Walker had his own breakout in 2017, going 12-5 with a 3.49 over 29 starts. Most tragic of all is the presence of the much-maligned Patrick Corbin, who, I was surprised to learn, used to be one of the top strikeout pitchers in the game. He's become a punchline to us today, but he's one of the few hurlers to appear twice on this list. The 17 D-backs shoved to an elite 11.8 wins above average, the 7th highest of any starting staff in the 2010s, even if their band of aces was something of a one-hit wonder. Number 6. 2019 Nationals. The first-time champs assembled a dream trio of arms for 2019. One homegrown icon, one established ace, and one guy named, inevitably, Patrick Corbin. The homegrown horse, Steven Strasburg, turned in the best 6 months of his tragic career, leading the league in wins and innings pitched while racking up 251 strikeouts, an elite 1.04 whip, and a 6th best 3.09 expected ERA. His counterpart, Scherzer, was even better, dominating the league to the tune of 12.7 strikeouts per 9 innings, a 7.36 strikeout to walk ratio, and 2.45 FIP, each of which led the National League. Both finished top 5 in Cy Young voting. Scherzer, the 3-time winner, overcame injuries to post 243 strikeouts and a 1.54 ERA+, his competitiveness and lunatic energy setting the tone for his team. Sinker specialist Anibal Sanchez quietly put up a 3-WAR season at age 35, reaching 166 innings while posting well above average campaign ERA+ at 1.17. And then there is, of course, Patrick Corbin, who had the best season of his acclaimed career in 2019, striking out 238 hitters and actually outdoing Strasburg in ERA+ at the height of his now vanished ability to miss bats. Hard to believe how this team looked just 2 years later. Number 5. 2018 Cleveland. This choice is controversial for a few reasons, not the least of which being that I'm not totally sure what to call these guys, since in 2018 they were yet to be renamed the Guardians. The bigger reason is, of course, the presence of the notorious Trevor Bauer on this team. When he wasn't hurling balls over the center field fence and composing diss tracks about his catchers,
"You foolish bastards getting the reports and from the media get to thinking that you know me. Don't be stupid, you don't be true."
Bauer kept himself busy with the best season of his career, leading the AL in FIP and home runs per 9 innings while recording an eye-popping 1.96 ERA+. Yet another controversial hurler, Mike Clevinger, had a strong season of his own, with 5.4 WAR and a 1.43 ERA+ over an even 200 innings. The ace of the staff, Corey Kluber, probably the least controversial man to ever play a professional sport, turned in his usual spectacular season, leading the league with 215 innings to go with a tidy 20 wins and a league-best 1.4 walks per 9. The Klubot's marvelous work in the 2010s should never be forgotten. Even though he did win 2 separate Cy Young Awards, he came close to picking up 5. By the way, if you remember Carlos Carrasco notching 231 strikeouts in 2018, you probably also remember that he won 60 games from 15 to 18, while striking out 5 hitters to each walk. Give me underrated Cleveland pitchers for 500, Alex. Number 4. 2017 Nationals. The only franchise with 2 spots on this list is the Nationals. It's Strasburg and Scherzer again, but this time, the third member of the Big Three was future down-ballot Hall of Famer Gio Gonzalez. If you're not on the Gio Gonzalez train already, you've got no business following baseball. Aside from leading the league in walks, which are a made-up stat anyway, Gio racked up 6.5 WAR and a 1.52 ERA+ in his career best summer. He was supported by Cy Young winner Max Scherzer, who went on an absolute murder spree, averaging nearly 10 strikeouts per outing and finishing with no less than 15 double-digit strikeout games. His hits per 9 mark of 5.7 is a surreal value that led the majors. And, for good measure, he threw in a 20 strikeout complete game. Strasburg missed a few weeks to injury, but still led the NL with a 2.72 FIP, while preventing runs to the tune of a 1.78 ERA+, the best mark of his career. The 2017 Nationals are actually the only team to feature 3 rotation mates with an ERA+ above 150, which helped the staff reach its ethereal 13 wins above average, even when 56 of their starts were filled by dudes named Tanner Roark, Joe Ross, and Edwin Jackson. Number 3. 2015 Cardinals. 2015 was the second coming of the year of the pitcher, and no team embodied the moment better than St. Louis, whose quintet of arms combined for a 1.33 ERA+. Mentored by John Lackey in his 3rd red uniform, young righties Michael Wacha and Carlos Martinez blossomed in 2015, both reaching the All-Star game at age 23. Lance Lynn, in his age 28 campaign, had an inflated whip of 1.37, but managed to control the run game and keep his ERA at 3.01, while left-hander Jaime Garcia quietly posted a 2.43 ERA over 129 innings, keeping hitters off balance with his soft tossing style. While this might not be the flashiest rotation on this list, it is arguably the most balanced and the most consistent of the 2010s, reflected in the team's 1953 record when any of their Big Five took the hill. Number 2, 2013 Tigers. One of the great what-ifs in baseball history, the 2013 Tigers assembled a rotation that would produce a total of 7 Cy Young Awards, 2 surefire Hall of Famers, neither of whom would be the team leader in ERA. The 1-2 punch of Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer should have been enough to vault them to the World Series. But add that to an out-of-nowhere surge from soft tosser Anibal Sanchez, whose 1.62 ERA plus and 2.39 FIP wound up leading the league, and prime work from Doug Fister and Rick Porcello, you wonder how this team ever lost a game. With 5 old-school workhorses on the roster, the Tigers never had to worry about getting enough quality innings from its starters, each of whom averaged well over 6 innings per start and combined for an MLB best 3.44 starters ERA. The Tigers haven't gotten close to a championship since, and you have to wonder if it's baseball karma for falling short in 2013. Before I hit you with my top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. 2018 Rockies, 2010 Phillies, 2015 Dodgers, 2014 Nationals, 2015 Mets. Number 1, 2011 Phillies. You all knew this was coming. The Romans had nothing on this triumvirate. It was never sunnier in Philadelphia than in the summer of 2011, when the big Philly three-stick of Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Cole Hamels combined to go 50-23 with a 2.51 ERA. In a time when a starter could often be counted on to finish a game, Lee and Halladay both put up 8 WAR seasons, with Halladay leading the majors. No other rotation in modern history has featured 3 starters who each finished with a WAR above 6. Each ace had his specialty. Hamels had the lowest whip of the 3, while Lee led the rotation in strikeouts. Halladay, meanwhile, shouldered the heaviest burden, tossing 8 complete games to reach 233 innings with an MLB best 1.63 ERA plus and 2.20 FIP. The big 3 were ably supported by longtime Astros ace Roy Oswalt and a breakout performance from eyewear model Vance Worley, whose 11-3 record and 3.3 WAR landed him in 3rd place in Rookie of the Year voting. The cumulative 21.1 wins above average mark is by far the best of any rotation in the 2010s, more than 8 wins higher than the next closest team. It's the kind of season you dream about when putting together your fantasy rotation, the kind of masterful, perfect campaign that never quite works when teams like the Mets try to sign 4 different aces in the same offseason. Somehow, the Phillies fell short of the pennant, even with a far better pitching staff than in 2008 and 2009, inviting comparisons with those 2013 Tigers. Halladay's career would fall off following 2011, and his life would end in tragedy not much later. Lee, too, saw his career sharply decline during his Phillies tenure, while Hamels remained an elite pitcher deep into the 2010s. The Vanimal, Vance Worley, meanwhile, would pitch in independent leagues for several seasons before heroically representing Great Britain for some reason in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. Thanks to all of you for watching, and let me know what my next top 9 list should be.